Did you know, if you finish Resident Evil 4's remake with no damage on the professional difficulty, you unlock a secret special segment where Ada Wong performs a 5-minute ASMR session telling you to go outside and talk to a real woman. Well, Resident Evil 4 Remake is finally out, and guess what? It's a masterpiece. It is basically a perfect reimagination of the game that pioneered the over-the-shoulder action style. And it's a game that remains faithful to the original while still taking important liberties to make sure that the game is going to be as modern and fitting as possible. On top of that, it's a brilliantly crafted game that is riddled with Easter eggs that you're likely to miss if you're not sticking around and paying attention to the tiny details, but that's okay because we've got you covered. In this video, we'll talk about some of the most interesting details and little Easter eggs that we found while playing the Resident Evil 4 Remake. Let's get started. First up, that's what you saw in the thumbnail. The Salazar Omelette Deluxe is what I call this secret during the Salazar boss fight. If you take a golden egg and throw it on Salazar while he's exposed, it will immediately deplete almost all of his health. If you happen to have one more golden egg, throwing that at Salazar will actually kill him, effectively skipping the entire boss fight. What's crazy is that prior to his boss fight, the game actually hints at this strategy in the form of a merchant request. This quest requires you to make your way all the way back to the throne room and deface Salazar using, you guessed it, an egg. In the original, it was the free rocket launcher. In the remake, it's an egg, of all things. Salazar can never get a respectful boss fight, can he? Next up are the achievement names. While this would be clear for anyone who's played the original, this part of the video is for the ones who are just experiencing the remake for the first time. Did you know, a lot of the achievements are nods to the original game. Achievements such as Your Small Time, Grilled Big Cheese, and No Thanks Bro, among many others, are references to lines in the original Resident Evil 4. Next up, one of the most iconic Easter eggs of the original makes a return in Resident Evil 4's remake. If you shoot the lake a few times where you fight Delago, you get a special exclusive gun for Leon to use. Make sure you get the secret gun, it will make your life a whole lot easier. I should also mention, this unlock only happens if you're playing in the professional difficulty. Don't do it. This is definitely a scam. This was written by a scriptwriter that is a terrible person. Moving forward, another Easter egg is the bonus time. This one might be one of the more wholesome Easter eggs in the game and just really shows how much the developers love the originals. In the shooting range, if you manage to reach bonus time for a round, the music that plays is a remix of the track that plays during the intro Jeep ride of the original Resident Evil 4. Tiny details, lots of love. Another Easter egg, another nod to the original. In the original Resident Evil 4, once you reach Sadler's throne room, if you walk up to Sadler's throne, you get a question mark prompt. If you press the button, Leon sits on Sadler's throne and strikes a villainous pose before saying, "There's no time for resting." Might not be the time for resting with the life of the president's daughter at stake, but this doesn't stop Leon, Sigma male that he is, from displaying his swagger anyway. Upon reaching Salazar's throne room in the remake, there's a similar prompt when you approach Salazar's throne. Interacting with it causes Leon to reenact that same pose while saying the exact same line. It was a cute little Easter egg on the original that most fans would be pretty pleased with seeing return in this remake. Another Easter egg is the deer scare. During the part where you scour the castle library with Ashley, one of the scares is a deer falling off, spooking Ashley. This is a nod to the infamous Hookman version of Resident Evil 4, which was an early version of the original game centered more around survival horror and visual hallucinations. The hallucinations were meant to showcase the effect of the Las Plagas virus on Leon. One of the scares that was shown during the gameplay demonstration of the Hookman version was a taxidermy deer screaming itself back to life and then falling back down. Considering Ashley's segment was one more focused around survival horror and how similar in concept the scare feels, it's hard not to see it as a cheeky reference. Now, this next hidden detail is something that you're only going to be able to notice if you've got a keen eye. When you beat the original Resident Evil 4, after going back to the main menu, you'd see a brand new menu that's a wide panning shot of the starting village. Once you beat the RE4 Remake, you get the new main menu, and it's almost an exact same rendition of the same menu background you would get from the original Resident Evil 4. Now, this next one is another Easter egg that is lifted straight from the last game, and it's a reference to the film Leon the Professional. And do I even need to mention this? The main character is called Leon, who is watching over a young girl, and once you beat the game for the first time, you unlock the hardest difficulty of the game called Professional. One of the weapons you unlock for Leon is the burst handgun called the Matilda, which also happens to be the name of the girl in Leon the Professional. Now, this is a part of the game that I'm really happy they kept in. By far the most iconic Easter egg of the franchise is the dog that you rescue at the start of the game who helps you during the El Gigante boss fight. In Resident Evil 4 Remake, the same dog can be found some ways into the village section outside the house of the village chief. This dog is a reference to another Capcom IP called Haunting Ground. A survival horror game released the same year as Resident Evil 4, it's a great game that you should definitely play once you finish watching this video. Not only does he bear a striking resemblance to Fiona's furry companion, according to Capcom, his official name is Hewie, which is also what he's called in Haunting Ground. And I've saved some of the best for last. This is an Easter egg that actually significantly affects how you play through part of the game. If you have a sniper rifle or just godlike aim, you can shoot the church bell and skip the entire initial fight because the enemies are going to drop their weapons for Lord Sadler. I'm sure a lot of speedrunners are going to be using that Easter egg to try and skip part of the game. And that pretty much wraps it up. That is 10 hidden details that we found in the Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm sure we didn't catch all of them, and I'm sure as people keep playing the game, they're going to figure out more hidden details. Did we miss something? Is there anything cool you found? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.